Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to pop the hood and break down the true engine room of the United States government. It's actually a system designed by a group of farmers, lawyers, and revolutionaries well over 2 centuries ago, but it still dictates absolutely everything. I mean, from the taxes taken out of your paycheck to the funding for your local highways, all the way to whether the nation goes to war. Think about it for a second. Imagine a country of over 330 million people, packed with 50 different states, totally unique regional cultures, and wildly competing needs. How do you possibly create a set of rules that governs all of them fairly and effectively, without, completely ripping the country apart? Well, you are about to find out, because today we are looking deep under the hood of the American constitutional system.
Now, when most people think of the U.S. government, they almost immediately picture the president, right? Sitting behind that famous, resolute desk in the Oval Office. We tend to focus all of our attention on the executive branch. But you might be really surprised to learn that the Founding Fathers actually designed the legislature to be the single most powerful branch of government. Coming fresh out of a revolution against a literal king, the absolute last thing the architects of the Constitution wanted was just another all-powerful single ruler. So the system was purposefully built so that the branch closest to the people, the lawmakers themselves, representing their individual local communities, would hold the absolute most substantial, wide-reaching powers over the nation's future.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. We're going to break this massive constitutional machine down into 5 easily digestible parts: the engine of government, the 2 chambers, power of the purse, declaring war, and finally, the ultimate check. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The engine of government, driving the nation forward. Think of it like this. If the government is a car, Congress is the steering wheel. Sure, the president might step on the gas pedal to execute the day-to-day operations and, keep the motor running, but without lawmakers actually setting the direction, that car goes absolutely nowhere. They make the laws, which means they chart the course for the entire nation. Whether it's deciding to build an entirely new interstate highway system, creating federal agencies to protect the environment, or even just setting the legal age to purchase certain goods, Congress determines the actual laws of the land. It's a remarkably simple concept when you break it down, but an incredibly massive responsibility that shapes the daily life of every single citizen. Moving right along to Part 2, the 2 chambers, House and Senate. So, Congress operates in what's called a bicameral system, which basically just means it's divided into 2 entirely separate chambers. But this wasn't just some random design choice. This whole structure was born from the Great Compromise of 1787. It was a historic deal meant to solve a massive fight among the founders. See, the heavily populated states argued they deserved way more power because, well, they had more people. But the smaller states were absolutely terrified of being bullied and demanded an equal say regardless of their size. So the solution? Split the legislative branch right in half. That kept both the large states and the small states happy, and it ensured that no single region could completely dominate the entire country.
It really is an incredible contrast. The House of Representatives is essentially the voice of the masses. With 435 members, representation is based entirely on a state's population. California gets 52 representatives, while Wyoming gets exactly 1. And because they serve short, 2-year terms, they're basically constantly running for re-election. That means they have to be hyper-responsive to the daily mood and the immediate demands of their voters. But then you have the Senate. They are the great equalizer. Just 100 members total, meaning every single state gets exactly 2, whether they have 1 million residents or 30 million. Plus, they serve much longer, 6-year terms, and only a third of them are up for election at any given time. This completely protects them from the rapid, wild swings of public opinion, allowing them to think long-term and cool down the hot tempers of the House.
Because every single bill must pass through both of these vastly different chambers in the exact same form to become law, the system actually acts as a built-in speed bump. You literally need the fast-moving, reactive voice of the masses and the deliberate, slow-moving voice of the states to completely agree before a single word becomes the law of the land. It's absolutely a feature, not a bug. It's designed to cool down hot tempers, prevent sweeping radical changes overnight, and force compromise from every corner of the country.
Okay, Part 3, Power of the Purse, Financial Control.
An executive can make all the promises they want on the campaign trail, right? New bridges in every city, massive national healthcare programs, state-of-the-art military upgrades, but Congress holds the PIN number to the country's credit card. This is known as the power of the purse. So no matter how grand a president's vision might be, if the legislative branch refuses to open the checkbook and authorize the money, those plans remain nothing more than empty promises on a podium. They hold the ultimate financial key.
Congress holds exclusive rights over 3 massive financial mechanisms:
They, and only they, possess the constitutional power to raise revenue by collecting taxes from the public. They alone authorize the spending of those tax dollars. And every single year, they must pass a massive federal budget. This gives them an almost unimaginable amount of leverage over how the country operates day to day. If lawmakers cannot agree on how to fund the government, the engine literally runs out of gas. Federal workers stop getting paid, national parks close their gates, and the entire government completely shuts down until a financial deal is finally reached.
By forcing all revenue bills to originate specifically in the House of Representatives, the Constitution actually creates a brilliant safeguard. Remember, the House members are the ones running for election every 2 years. This ensures that the people reaching into your wallet to pull out tax dollars are the ones who most frequently have to face you at the ballot box. They literally have to go back home, look their neighbors in the eye, and justify exactly why they raised their taxes.
All right, part 4, declaring more foreign conflicts.
This is a truly vital, high-stakes division of power when it comes to international conflict. Yes, the president acts as the commander-in-chief on the battlefield. When bullets are actually flying, you absolutely need one decisive leader directing generals and troops, not 535 arguing politicians. But to legally change the status of the United States from peace to war, that ultimate world-altering authority rests solely with the legislative branch. They hold the power to commit the nation's blood and treasure to a full-scale, recognized conflict.
And this is wild to think about. Despite all of America's modern conflicts, Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, Congress has only formally declared war 11 times in its entire history. The last time was actually World War II in the 1940s. Modern presidents have certainly found ways to use military force through alternative resolutions, and the balance of war powers is constantly debated today. But the highest constitutional authority for total, absolute war, the kind that drafts citizens and redirects the entire domestic economy, still fundamentally lives within the walls of the Capitol building.
Finally, part 5, the ultimate check, overriding the executive.
Normally, if the president hates a bill passed by Congress, they pull out their pen, stamp a veto on it, and the bill just dies on their desk. But Congress holds one final, incredibly powerful trump card. If lawmakers can rally a 2/3 supermajority vote in both the House and the Senate, they can override that executive veto and pass the law anyway. It is a monumental task. It usually requires opposing political parties to actually join together against the president. But it serves as the ultimate safeguard, ensuring that no chief executive can ever rule like an absolute monarch with a permanent veto over the will of the people.
So, when you watch the evening news and see lawmakers bickering, stalling, and fighting over bills, remember this: that constant friction isn't a flaw in the system. It's actually an intentional feature. You have hundreds of representatives from vastly different regions, from bustling metropolitan cities to quiet rural farmlands, all trying to agree on how to tax, how to spend, and how to govern. Pundits often scream about gridlock, but the founders designed it to be loud and messy. A government that moves too fast and agrees too easily is a government that can strip your rights away just as quickly.
I want to leave you with this final thought to conclude our explainer. Is a messy, argumentative government actually our best defense against tyranny? The founders fully believed that putting the greatest amount of power into the hands of a large, divided, and highly debating legislative body was the absolute safest way to preserve freedom. Keep that in mind the next time you see a heated, seemingly endless debate happening in Washington, because now you know exactly what is happening under the hood. Thank you so much for listening, and keep asking the big questions.